Good evening, friends. Nifty is up almost 80% from its March lows. Today we are closer to 16,000, and in March 20 we had touched almost 8,600 in the Nifty. In fact, if you see this such sharp run, bring back the memory of 2004 back to me, when Nifty had gone up from 800, I believe, from 934 in 2003 to 1800 in 2004. In fact, this rally lasted till 2008, when Nifty touched something close to 5,600. I'm sorry, 5,200 by April 2008. Now, this brings me back to the topic that we have decided to discuss today. That is 2022, a repeat of what we had seen in 2004. And there are a lot of similarities, and it's a very interesting exercise, trust me guys. The guest whom we have today have spent considerable time in making this report, and he will help us understand that why 2022 is a repeat of 2004 and what are the similarities that he is seeing in this market compared to 2004, and why is it a repeat of the same period. Please allow me to welcome Mr. Naveen Agarwal, MD and CEO of Motilal Oswal, who has written this fantastic report, which will be shared all across to each one of you.
All those kind words, and good evening, investors. I'm looking forward to this interaction. I know, Vikash, your last series was quite popular among investors, and I wish you all the best for good success with this series also. And thank you for having me as the first speaker on this series. So recently I had written an article, and Vikash can share the article with some of you who may not have that. But, having looked at the markets over a period of time, they say that markets, history doesn't repeat itself, but it does rhyme. And I see many things rhyming in 2021, right? When I look back and compare it with 2002, 2003, 2004 years, right? There was a lot of gloom and doom back then. And let me try and now draw some parallels, which is what I had presented in my note that I had put out a few days ago. So firstly, that stocks are slaves of earnings, right? So what happens to earnings in turn happens to the stock markets. And in the last decade, the earnings growth of India was a mere 5 to 6%. And it doesn't take a genius to then conclude that the decadal return of Nifty was also 5 to 6%. It was actually a little worse than that, because the decade ending March 2020 had the month of March, which was the biggest fall in the global markets and the Indian markets, right? But if I were to remove that, then broadly the returns on the market for a decade were the same as the earnings growth of the market, of the corporate sector. Now, if stocks are slaves of earnings, and many times I hear people say that the P ratios are high or low. What is a P ratio? P ratio is price divided by earnings. And if earnings are bombed out, then what will happen to the P ratio? It look very elevated, right? So now let me talk about this earnings number. So those who have read my article, may have seen I put out what happened to corporate earnings from 2002 to 2008 cycle. In 2002, corporate profits were 2% of the GDP, right? 2.2% to be precise. And in 2008, it became 8% of the GDP. Why did it become 8% of the GDP? Because capital goods companies were booming. Telecom companies were showing big profits. Auto companies were showing very high profits. Commodity companies were doing very well. PSU Bank, State Bank of India credit cost was negligible. Private banks were doing well as well. Pharma companies were doing well. So basically a confluence of all the profit pools starting to do well, in turn took the corporate profit to GDP from a low of 2% to a high of 8% in the year 2008. So what was the compounded growth in earnings during that period? 24% compounded. And what was the return in Sensex and Nifty per annum? More than 30% per annum. In the index, I'm not talking about active funds. I'm not talking about A stock. I'm not talking about the capital goods sector, which was like 100x, right? I'm talking about the index, the market as a whole. Correct? So that was first point. Second point was during that period, our Forex reserves are very good. $150 billion in 2003-04 was a very good number, right? Foreigners investing $10 billion in a year was a very good number. What's the Forex reserves now? $600 billion plus. Your 4x. Rupee was stable through that bull market at 45. Rupees at 70, 75. Possibility that it will remain stable from here. What happened to the capital goods sector? So I remember I and Ramdevji going to meet L&T. And L&T saying that we have to run to our clients for the smallest of the orders. You know, and I'll talk in Hindi also for the benefit of some of our investors. L&T का शेयर अगर आपको खरीदना है तो आपको तब खरीदना चाहिए जब मैनेजमेंट ऑर्डर्स के पीछे भाग रहा है, और तब बेचना चाहिए जब प्लांट ऑर्डर करने वाले L&T के पीछे भाग रहे हैं. उस वक्त L&T के पास कोई ऑर्डर नहीं था एंड सीईओ खुद भागता था, नायक साहब खुद भागते थे ऑर्डर लेने के लिए. 2008 में नायक साहब किसी से मिलते ही नहीं थे क्योंकि उनके पास इतने ऑर्डर्स थे कि वो एग्जीक्यूट नहीं हो सकते थे. दैट वाज द पीक ऑफ द स्टॉक प्राइस. 10 साल तक वो भाव आया नहीं फिर. करेक्ट. Life is that simple, right? If you read a book of Peter Lynch, if you read, they say that some of these things don't require intellect. Basic common sense will allow you to invest. Correct? So there were no capital goods orders in 2002. In 2008, capital goods companies could not take any more orders. They were so full. Abhi bhi capital goods companies have no orders. L&T is running to the customers. You know, order chahiye, right? It's not as bad as 2002, but it's pretty bad. Right? Steel sector, so many bankruptcies happened. Nobody is placing orders. Energy sector, road sector, they've quit. You know, Middle East had their own problems because oil had collapsed. Now it's coming back. Only government is giving them orders. 80-90% of their order book is government. Private sector is not even giving them orders. Next is discretionary consumption. When do you see, whenever there's a wealth effect, for instance, in the US, there's a very strong wealth effect. And so the consumption there is also booming. Right? In 2002, there was a negative wealth effect. Right? Sensex and Nifty were at their lows. And so discretionary consumption was at its low, and that picked up dramatically in the next 6 years. Right now, I mean, because of COVID, we saw our own impact, and discretionary consumption, I mean, auto sector, what's happening to cars, two-wheelers? Are you aware that India in 2021 sold 30%, 25 to 30% lower two-wheelers than 2-3 years back? 50% lower commercial vehicles. 15 to 20% lower passenger cars. So it's all contracted, right? So we are at a very low base. So I'm giving you a lot of the parallels. You know, if you can time travel back to 2002, and when you look at things today, in fact, I feel like history is repeating, not rhyming. It's almost the same things. And you know, when people talk to me कि 15,000 निफ्टी हो गया, 750 रुपया EPS आने वाला है अगले साल 2022 का एस्टिमेट है, तो 20 टाइम P कितना हाई है? P is P divided by E. E is 2% of the GDP. अगर मैं उसको 8% of the GDP करूंगा तो 1/4 लगेगा आपको P. 5 टाइम लगेगा 20 टाइम की जगह पे. अगर मैं उसको नॉर्मलाइज 4% करूंगा तो 10 टाइम लगेगा आपको P 20 टाइम की जगह पे. You see how to, you have to be careful. It is, I think P is a double-edged sword. You can win a battle. You can make a lot of money in stock markets if you know how to use it, and you can cut and bleed yourself if you don't know how to use it. Right? There's something called the Shiller normalized earnings in the US, उसमें क्या करते हैं भाई, जीडीपी 2% भी होता है, 8% भी होता है, हम थोड़ा एवरेज करके देखते हैं, 4% पे लेके देखते हैं, बिकॉज 2 का 4 तो हो ही जाएगा. Then that P ratio will look very different. Correct? So I feel that, you know, corporate earnings are now quite suppressed. Economic activity is quite suppressed. And next 4 or 5 years, you will see many of these profit pools which have got destroyed. Telecom sector tariffs will go up. Capital goods companies will see orders coming back. PSU banks will see credit costs coming down. You're already seeing evidence of that, right? IT sector is seeing boom in exports because of the digital adoption globally, right? And so many other profit pools are getting rebuilt. Once again, 2 will go up to 3, and then 4, and then possibly 5 and 6, and so on. What is the corporate profit to GDP of US? They are 10%. What was the corporate profit to GDP of the US in 2008? Less than India's 8%. Today, if I tell you 2 will go to 10, you will not believe me. And I will not tell you that also. I'm only talking about 2 going to 4. Right? And back then we were excited with a $10 billion foreign flow, 9 billion. This year, how much did we get? 37 billion. And emerging markets is not even hot right now. Right? Right now, American markets are hot. NASDAQ, S&P, those are the hot products. So what I'm really trying to tell you is that so much has changed. It was a decade of the US. We believe this will be the decade of India. We believe that as India transitions from $2 trillion to $4 trillion, $2.5 trillion to $5 trillion GDP, that journey has been very exciting for US when you had 15% compounded dollar return during that period. For China, which traveled that journey in a much shorter time, and it was a 25% plus return for them. I don't want to forecast 25% plus return for Indian markets. Even if you make 15% return, you'll beat all asset classes hands down. Correct? So this is really, I think, a very exciting journey. I think, so what I've done now is drawn a parallel of 2002, 3, 4, and the journey to 2008. Many of you may not have experienced that, right? I think this is a replay of that is playing out. But remember one thing, for markets that go up 10 times, every second year there's a double-digit correction. Your job is not to avoid those corrections. Your job is to live through those corrections.